Look at the top scorers in Premier League history, and you'll find a ruthless finisher who strikes perfectly with either foot. Son Heung-min has spent nearly a decade terrifying English defenses. But the man with over 100 Premier League goals was strictly forbidden from taking a single shot until he was 14 years old. His father, a former professional player named Son Woong-jung, saw deep flaws in how young athletes were coached. He built his own training system for his son, completely stripping away traditional match play. Instead of scrimmages or shooting drills, training consisted of brutal repetition. Son spent up to 4 straight hours a day just juggling and practicing ball control. The rules were absolute. If the ball touched the dirt even once, the 4-hour clock reset to 0. When the exhaustion inevitably brought his son to tears, Woong-jung offered a simple ultimatum. If he wanted to play football for fun, he needed to walk away from the sport immediately. This isolated, agonizing regimen built a teenager with flawless two-footed technique. But as he neared adulthood, he had virtually zero experience playing in actual competitive matches. At 16, Son left South Korea to join the youth academy of Hamburger SV in Germany. He arrived knowing no German and carrying intense homesickness. To cope, he spent his evenings alone in a dorm room, trying to piece together the language by watching SpongeBob SquarePants. On the pitch, the isolation was worse. The European Academy players routinely ignored him, refusing to pass him the ball during scrimmages. Rather than wait for their acceptance, he relied on the ball control his father had drilled into him, violently tackling his own teammates to steal the ball directly off their feet. By forcing them to acknowledge his undeniable skill, he broke through the locker room hierarchy and secured his spot in the squad. Raw talent alone was insufficient to survive the European Academy system. Success required the ruthless mentality Son had forged during those years of agonizing discipline. By 2015, his performances in Germany earned him a massive transfer to Tottenham Hotspur in the Premier League. He arrived carrying the heavy expectations of the Asian continent. The transition was a disaster. Struggling to adapt to the English game, he quietly approached the club hierarchy after his first season and begged to be sold back to a German team. Manager Mauricio Pochettino personally blocked the exit. He sat Son down and convinced him to stay and fight for his position. The challenge was structural. Tottenham's entire offense flowed through their homegrown striker, Harry Kane. So Son adapted. Instead of staying pinned as a pace-reliant wide man, he recognized Kane's tendency to drop deep and began making direct, penetrating runs into the center, effectively operating as a striker. This heat map tracks his shot locations over time. You can see how his attempts migrated away from low-probability angles on the left wing, concentrating directly into the high-danger center of the penalty box. He survived his rough start in England by engineering a tactical evolution, one that made him statistically one of the most lethal finishers in Europe. Yet amidst his European success, a massive threat loomed. South Korean law mandates 18 months of military service for all able-bodied men. He had one realistic way out: the 2018 Asian Games. Son had to win the gold medal, or he would lose a year and a half of his physical prime to the military. He played the entire tournament under crushing pressure, treating every single loose ball and sprint as a fight to save his professional livelihood. When the final whistle confirmed South Korea's victory, the tension broke. He collapsed to the grass, weeping into his hands as the weight of his entire career lifted. Securing his military exemption cleared the path for his return to London, completely free to reach his absolute peak. Back at Tottenham, he hit milestones rarely seen in the league. He won the Premier League Golden Boot and became the only Asian player in history to score over 100 Premier League goals. He earned the overwhelming adoration of the London fan base, securing his status as an undeniable club legend. Historically, European clubs frequently viewed Asian signings through a cynical lens, seeing them as commercial assets to sell shirts overseas, rather than genuine match-winning talent. Son systematically dismantled that stereotype. He proved an Asian player can be the most decisive, dangerous weapon on a top-tier European roster. The boy who wasn't allowed to shoot for 14 years ended his English career as a statistical outlier. By reaching the very top of the scoring charts, he provided the definitive proof that the path from a quiet Korean courtyard to a Premier League legend was finally open. Which underdog football story do you want us to cover next? Let us know in the comments and follow for daily stories.